Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm here with our guest, Tom Caldwell. He is the chairman of Caldwell Securities in Toronto. Tom, I just want to get back to monetary policy just for a second. Central banks are clearly aiming for a short and soft recession. What's your sense? Is that still doable? Is that possible?
Of course, and I'm it's I think I've said very often, despite my dour comments about our leadership, I'm an optimist underneath all this. I'm not even sure we're going to have a recession. We may have a slowdown, but most of the studies show that central banks have added to the volatility of economic cycles from the Great Depression onward. They usually act late. They're behind the curve. And yes, they can turn a slowdown into a recession. Make no mistake about that. I don't think anybody's too concerned now with rates the way they've gone, because we're getting to whatever normal looks like. Right. So it's not really choke off points. We're not talking about John Crow and 18% at this stage of the game. And I think the moderation has already occurred. My hope is both the Federal Reserve in the United States and the Bank of Canada are smart enough to recognize that. Don't overkill, because the volatility that they've caused, and this is documented, by moving rates too high before the economy could absorb it, has been very damaging. So I think they're smart enough to avoid that, I hope.
I'm going to shift gears because I came across this very interesting statistic the other week. According to our recent labor statistics, they indicate that 92% of new job growth in this country is in the public sector. Love to get your reaction to that. Are businesses in trouble? Are they not hiring? What's going on out there?
Well, first off, the number doesn't surprise me. The public sector is becoming omnipresent in almost every area. We need more regulators. That's what really seems to be the goal. I think businesses are prepared to expand. I think the challenge for many businesses right now is getting people to return to work.
Right.
What was an accommodation during COVID is now seen as a fact of life, and people are deciding, well, do I want to come back to work? Now, I'm not necessarily totally in agreement with Elon Musk here that if you don't come back, you're out of a job. But if you're working from home, it's not for you to evaluate the effectiveness of how your work is working out, because you're not participating in the team, contributing to the team, or benefiting from the team. And I can speak to, and most business people can speak to many, many, many examples of that right now, that it's really hard to get the people working. Now, bit by bit, I noticed, say in our firm, people are drifting back into the office. Our core people have been here throughout COVID, but I think more and more people are starting to come back into the office because they'll become increasingly irrelevant. So where is business? Business really, we're trying to get people back, but failing that, we're going to start looking for different people or new people or whatever. That's going to happen. So I think there's demand there, but there's a concern in Canada about capital investment. For example, capital investment has literally stopped in the oil and gas business, government policy, and it's eased off significantly in the autos as well. So there are areas where the economy is showing the strains of either policy or international trade concerns.
Now, general question with some specific examples for you. Does Canada still work? And, we've seen all the reporting on the passport chaos, airports being a mess. We don't seem to get pipelines approved. How do you see it? Is that seems to be a prime economic issue for us now?
Well, it really is. I mean, I do have to tell you, I am concerned about this. We can't export oil through the West Coast because of objections there. The price of the Trans Mountain has gone from $7 billion to $27 billion just because of obstructionist policies. Quebec won't allow energy to flow across. They're talking about building a liquid natural gas plant in the Maritimes. So where's that going to come from? I guess probably our East Coast, but we can't get gas across the country there. Everybody has an agenda. I think the West, Alberta in particular, has been prejudiced against in many ways in policy over the years, from both Trudeau the first to Trudeau the second. So there's a lot of factionalism, and you have a government that is catering to special interest groups. We need to have a macro look at this country, and you're quite correct. Are we a country? What do we want to be? Sir Wilfrid Laurier referred to the last century as Canada's century, and it was in many areas. I think we've dropped the ball on that in the 21st century. We really do have to take a long, hard look, and that's what I'd like us to see doing more of that about Canada, and not debasing being proud of being a Canadian, which is what we've had over the last all these terrible things have happened. Get over it. That's history.